FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
This episode of the Financial Survival Network is brought to you in part by Sandstorm Gold Royalties. Sandstorm Gold Royalties is a different kind of gold company. They purchase royalties on select mining operations and receive a percentage of the revenue in return. Sandstorm now has a portfolio of over 185 gold royalties around the world. See how gold royalties differ from other gold mining investments at sandstormgold.com. That's sandstormgold.com. Sandstorm Gold Royalties trades on the TSX as SSL and on the New York Stock Exchange American as SAND.
Welcome, and you are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. It's November 12th, 2018. Well, elections have come and gone. Well, they haven't quite gone. Looks like this is the year of electoral fraud. The Democrats have retaken the House, for better or for worse. That remains to be seen. It looks like their primary intent is to somehow get it together to impeach the president, not a strategy for success. Gun control seems to be another aspect, and single payer, which everybody loves single payer until they get the price tag, and then it's forget it. We don't want this. Anyways, well, important issues all. Love to hear your views on them. Just email us, kl@kerrylutz.com. And more to talk about these issues and much more is our good friend, Dr. Elaina George. And Dr. George, welcome back to the show.
Oh, thank you, Kerry. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Likewise. So, hey, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez believes that there's nothing wrong with the United States medical system, that single payer health care can't solve. And when asked how we're going to pay for it, she just said, well, we'll pay for it. Not a real deep thinker, is she?
No, I don't think anybody on that side who's pushing single payer have really thought long and hard about how it would work, one, and two, how you're going to pay for it. Medicare is already going bankrupt. How do you shoehorn in the entire country? Because it's not just seniors, it's everybody. If seniors are already getting, denial of services, rationing care, and I mean because their access is limited. Mm-hmm. Independent doctors like myself can no longer see Medicare patients. They're limited to the hospital doctors, and that fee structure or price scale is completely different than it is for an independent physician. So you end up having to wait longer, and when you are seen, you're paying more, and it's self-rationing in some cases. They're being put on the hook for more out-of-pocket than they ever have been. Then you add in the rest of the country with people who have other medical problems and people who have no medical problems, and it's going to be skewed more to people who are healthy, frankly. We already see that with the ACOs, the hospital and doctor consortiums. It's a capitated system where the government gives the hospital a certain amount of money. They keep their profit at the end of the year based on denial of care and denial of services. So imagine a senior citizen with a lot of medical problems. They're going to be put in a hospice. They're going to be managed as an outpatient. They're going to have telemedicine, but that does not equal access to quality, health care that's intense. They're going to put in, given a hip replacement? Probably not, because it's going to cost the hospital money if they have a complication. So you have to think of who stands to gain from this. The fiduciary responsibility, or the whoever has the pocketbook has the power, basically.
Of course.
And if that's the hospital and not the patient, and the hospital wants to make a profit and stay open, they're going to do it on the backs of the patient. And there's nothing in Medicare for All that protects anybody from this happening.
Yeah. So it's totally impractical. There is no possible way to pay for it, is there?
No. I mean, they can't even pay for Medicare. It's going to be bankrupt by, 2030, I think?
Yeah.
So where are they going to get the money? But, if you really want to be honest, they're going to tax everybody for the privilege of paying for Medicare for all. And I have a show, as you know, Medicine on Call, which is now going to be called Living in the Solution. And I interviewed Charles Blahhouse a couple of weeks ago, and he made a really a chilling statement. He said that once Medicare for All passes, if it does, doctors and hospitals will get 40% off reimbursements right off the bat. And if you were to take all the money from the 1% and tax everybody double, you still couldn't pay for Medicare for All. That should give people pause.
Should give them a lot of pause, shouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how much, I think Ocasio-Cortez, when they asked her how she's going to pay for it, it's at the point of service, it's free. That's all she kept saying. But she didn't tell people that it's going to come out of your payroll.
Yeah. Aren't the best things in life free?
The point of service is free, but you're paying everywhere else.
Yeah. Hey, like the best things in life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. How's education working for us? That's supposed to be free too.
You have to define what education is first, because I just remember the comedian Jackie Mason saying, when I went to school, and that could be for you and I as well, Dr. George, they used to give out homework. Now they give out condoms. I mean, it's pathetic. It's really pathetic.
It is. I would agree with you on that. And I think the main thing that the underlying common denominator of all of this is control. Yeah. It's not about individualized anything. It's about somebody from central position telling you your value, what you should want, what you should like, and what you should be happy for. And you should pay for it. If someone else took it from you. Anybody who gives you the mindset that it's a right when it's not. Healthcare is not a right, it's a service. If it were a right, that means someone gets to decide, you as a patient, what you're going to be worth, what services you get, and me as a doctor, what I'm allowed to give you as a service, and how much my value is as the provider of that service. And these are the people who are not in the doctor's office. They're not the patient. They're not the doctor. They're the bean counter. Who stands to gain? I think you should just follow the money. And it's going to be the government reaping even windfalls of taxes. And what are they going to use it for? I don't believe it's going to be for patient care. Yeah,
of course not. You know that. You totally can't trust them. How much of your medical healthcare dollar that you spend, I'm talking on insurance, et cetera, really winds up at the doctor's office, or the hospital, which is where it's supposed to be. It's like how much of your dollar winds up in the classroom, like next to none.
Exactly.
It's a less and less, right? Less and less. And
it's 7 cents of the healthcare dollar. That's what's estimated. That goes to the physician.
Really? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And they're the front line,
administration.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But it's still us supposedly causing the healthcare system to be so expensive. And it's absolutely not true.
Yeah. So, it's greedy doctors, right? Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cutting feet off, taking tonsils out just for $1.
Yeah, which you could have gone and done something else a long time ago and probably would have come out ahead at this point, and certainly had your life to yourself, right? That's
pretty true. I probably have paid off my student loans by now too, but that's a long, far long gone path that I'm going to be traveling to get that done. But Sherry, I love what I do, honestly, and I don't want to change it. No one has the right to tell us as physicians or patients what our value is when they're literally jacking up the price with artificial inflation, made up prices, a pharmacy benefit management system based on fraud and kickbacks. And these are all government sanctioned. The safe harbor part of the anti-kickback statute that Congress passed is a problem. They're allowed to jack up the price as high as they want, and it's free, and they get to give rebates to themselves.
Yes, very true.
Think about how the system works. It's based on the higher the ticket item for the procedure or the service, the more money they make. That's a peculiar pressure to keep the system going higher and higher because they're going to make more money. And we as the patient, the doctor, and the society pay for it through our taxes and government giveaways. It's not appropriate. And if they would clean that out, the cost of healthcare would drop dramatically. So my thing for anybody who wants single payer, I ask them to really think about, don't you really want to get rid of the cost of the reasons why the cost is so high? Instead of the government controlling everything, maybe we should look at what makes it so expensive and fix that.
We never
Therefore,
do.
the government would not have to get involved.
Right? And we never do that, right? We never look and see what the heck is going on. Why does it cost so much? It's only when somebody like P.J. O'Rourke writes a satire that we ever kind of get to the bottom of this, Dr. George. You know what I mean?
That's true. It's true. But, just like the election right now, I think there's so many things that are off completely. It's making people take a look at this and go, wait a minute, something's not right. Well, actually, you can pretty much see something's not right now. But you need to ask that same question about the healthcare system. Do I really have to spend $2,000 for a CT scan? Maybe I should go online and look it up and see what the real cost of something is, and then find an independent radiology center. And maybe I should stop thinking of my insurance as I paid for it, so I should use it mentality, which is silly, when you should actually use cash and only use your insurance for catastrophic episodes. You would actually save a lot of money. We're estimating that people are paying $24,000 or more per year out of pocket to have an insurance plan. They only go to the doctor maybe 2 or 3 times a year, maybe.
Yeah.
So the average person is just giving money to an insurance company. And then you pile in the deductible and the co-insurance, you're literally just hemorrhaging money, and you're not getting much value back. So maybe you should start thinking about, instead of the insurance company being the payer, think of yourself as the payer. And then it makes you a consumer, and then you become a lot more engaged in, are you getting bang for your buck? And I think, as I said on your show before, it's not the government that's going to fix this. It's the patient. And when the patient decides, I'm worthy and I don't want to spend this kind of money and I know I can get better for cheaper, they're going to have to come along. The hospitals, when they lose business, will stop charging ridiculous sums of money if no one's going to them. They're going to have to play ball with the competition. They're going to have to become competitive. But if we don't make them do that, they're never going to do it. And we know now the government's not going to help us.
Oh, we're sure of that. Of that, we could be absolutely certain. The government's not going to be there to rescue you, are they?
No, not unless we make them. And it comes down to withdrawing your consent. I mean, I would hope, and I'm kind of dubious at this point whether elections actually work. I have to be honest.
Yeah,
but that's still our best hope of making them toe the line. Call them up. Tell them I'm not going to vote for you. What's your stance on Medicare for all? What about health savings accounts? How can you empower me as a healthcare consumer and stop giving it to the big guys? They think we're stupid, honestly, Kerry. So if we don't exert some control, they're going to run all over us.
Yes, we know this. This is for sure because that's what they've been doing here, right? This is what they've been doing. So
they have been.
Yeah. How do we take our power back? And the answer is we take it back, right? I mean, I hate to answer a question with the same question, but there's no other way. And one of the ways you do it is through healthcare cost sharing ministries, like you and I have been talking about for years. Hey, other hacks, and we published a list of 11 medical hacks. I've sent it out to the mailing list. And if you haven't gotten it, please email me, kl@kerrylutz.com. But we've got a couple more hacks on there, Dr. George. Like, for instance, there's half a dozen free antibiotics and different blood pressure medications that supermarkets like Kroger and Publix give out for nothing. And then there's the whole list of $4 medications that you can get from Walmart and Costco and warehouse clubs. And, one way I found out I was getting cheated, and this is literally getting cheated, is that on your mail order pharmacy that you might have with your health insurance, they have huge deductibles for generics to the point where they'll charge you $40 for metformin, and because there's a $40 deductible, and yet you can go to Publix and get metformin, a 90-day supply for nothing, for free. Or you can go to to places like Walmart and Costco and get it for $4 or $8, and yet they're charging you like $40 for it. I saw this, and it just is out and out criminal. You're not being covered by it because the point is they sell it to you on their online pharmacy, but the insurance, because it's so cheap, doesn't cover it, so they rip you off on it effectively. You seen that before?
Absolutely. That's only one avenue
that you
can use to save money. There's another way to do this, especially if you have a chronic medical problem like diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma. People should think about joining a direct primary care practice because you can get your medications for free and actually have it rolled into your membership where you're paying $60 to $120 a month, $120 for a family of 4 and up. And that's the average.
I love that.
And it covers everything that goes on in the doctor's office, including the dispensing of medication, because doctors have pharmacies in their office, and they're passing that at cost savings to you as the patient. So that's another way to think about this. I'm a big fan of individualized care. Not everything works for everybody. But if you find that basically you can't make a good choice if you don't know what the choices are. Health sharing ministries are one. Direct primary care is another. Here in Atlanta, in Georgia, there's something called HIP Nation, and that's a consortium of direct primary care doctors and specialists. So if you have a need to see a specialist, that's also part of their system. They have a fee, and I'm a member of this. It's a flat fee for people who don't have insurance or high deductibles. So we're keeping the costs down. We're keeping you out of the hospitals. We're keeping you healthy. And we're paying, there's no middleman. It's just us, the patient and the doctor. People should look into that because it's nationwide.
Absolutely.
And if they go to my website, drelainageorge.com, or go to American Association of Physicians and Surgeons, AAPS online.org, or jointhewedge.com, all of these are clearinghouses for people to find locations, whether they're here in the country or out of the country, that you can have an alternate choice, or at the very least, get a quote for how much it's going to cost. Take it back to your hospital and say, hey, I can get it for this amount of money. Can you meet it? If not, I won't be coming to you. You'll be amazed how fast they'll meet that price.
Oh, God,
so you shop around for everything. Why can't you shop around for your health care? That's really the mantra.
You should. And you're going to one way or the other. I'm writing an article now, and you're going to laugh, but it's basically the premise, Dr. George, is that the millennials are the next greatest generation. But just like the greatest generation didn't know they were the greatest generation until they became the greatest generation, so it will be with the millennials. I mean, we are looking at amazing things that are going to happen here, and hey, it's going to be amazing here. So just be prepared. Take control of your healthcare. I've done it largely at the behest of you, Dr. George, educating me to various things available. I've saved hundreds and hundreds of dollars using any lab test now. And you know what the nicest thing is, Dr. George? They just email me the results. So I go to a doctor's office and they say, well, what's your latest blood work? And I say, hold on a second, what's your email address? And they give me their email address and I send them the report. And it's that simple. And as many doctors as I go to, thank God it's not many, I just keep sending them the report back. And how hard can that be, right?
It's not. And you're paying pennies on the dollar compared to going through the major lab Quest and Quest and LabCorp, where it's like 10 or 15 times, sometimes 100 times more than what it should be.
And the deep, dark secret is that any lab test now, I think, is owned by either LabCorp or Quest. But they've seen that. This tells you, why would they do this and cost themselves millions of dollars? They see the handwriting on the wall, and they don't want to take any chances of getting left out, right? I mean, that's what this is about.
Well, I agree, but we need to get the writing on the wall. We need to get them to move faster. And if we make, as consumers, start en masse moving this way, that would force them to lower their LabCorp prices so they can keep that system going.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's about the free market.
Yes.
Follow the money, but we are the ones that need to drive it. We shouldn't be following someone else's lead. We don't even understand how much power we have as patients, as consumers, and as doctors. It's time that we really start exerting our power. The hospitals can't exist without doctors.
Yes.
Patients can't exist. We want to get them well. We won't want them on medication 24/7. So again, an informed consumer is the best patient. Instead of, I want a pill to fix it, maybe people should start saying, I don't want to take a pill. I want to fix the problem, and find doctors that think that way. That would get rid of the algorithm-driven profession, part of our profession, the pill-pushing part of our profession. It would help everybody in the long run.
So true. I could not agree with you more, Dr. George. That's, not everybody I agree with. And look, there are no easy peasy ways to just solve this. It's going to be a process that you need to take, right? I mean, that's what it really comes down to. It's a process, right? So
I think for me, Carrie, I have to say, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think the most important thing is that there's more than one way. There has to be more than one solution. Single payers can never work for everybody. It's not designed to do that. And what the system that we have now doesn't work for everybody. Open it up and let people find their own way that works best for them. Just get the government get out of the way. Make the playing field level. There's an article about Edna was sued by a patient because they denied her cancer treatment, and she ended up dying. So Edna had to pay a fine. They need to actually be responsible now for denial of care because they're practicing medicine. I can tell you, I hope this is the beginning of many, many more of these.
Oh,
because
they
would stop denying if they had a dog in the hunt on this instead of the doctor being on the hook when they don't get to decide coverage. It's not right.
You're preaching to the choir here, because look, if you're going to start saying what's medically necessary and what isn't, then you are practicing medicine without a license. And
correct.
Look, that in any profession, the worst thing that you could do, the biggest crime you could commit in that profession is to be practicing that profession without a proper license. So this opens up a Pandora's box, a nightmare of potential consequences. But I'm afraid you can't count on the courts to bail you out of bad things. And like you told me, the most important thing you can do individually is stay healthy. And what does that mean? That means refrain from activities and lifestyle choices that will diminish your health, like smoking, like all sorts of bad things you could do, drug use, excessive drug use, even excessive prescription drug use can really injure your health and your long-term odds of surviving.
That's true.
So
personal responsibility does play a role in all of this.
Yeah. We
need to stop depending on a pill to fix it and actually make good choices. It does count.
Yes. Agreed. So, hey, just tell us again, Dr. George, best place to find you these days.
You can go to my website, drelainageorge.com, DRELAINA, George like the man's name. My show is on all the platforms from iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, etc. Medicine on Call, you can look it up under that. Or Dr. Elaina George, that will give you all of my old shows and also the new ones.
All right. Hey, and I can attest to the fact that, it's really worth listening to your podcast. The information you get, the actionable intelligence that you will receive, you really can't find that anyplace else, Dr. George. Let's face it. I mean, you got almost a monopoly on it. I don't see it coming from anywhere else. No one else told me to go and use any lab test now and save hundreds. I've saved thousands, really, probably 10, 15 blood tests there. That's thousands, right? So,
yeah,
really, really great stuff you have. Really amazing content and information that really can make a difference in your life, right?
I'm all about knowledge. If you don't know, then you can't make a conscious decision. Mm-hmm. And I want people to take their power back and be informed.
Yeah. So important. Hey, it's always great having you on, Dr. George. Again,
thank you, Kerry.
Hey, we'll have a link. If you're listening to this now, you've seen the post on the website. There's a link there to Dr. George's site. Go check it out. A lot of information. If you want that list of 11 medical hacks, and we're going to be updating it, just email me, kl@kerrylutz.com. Hey, Twitter feeds @KerryLutz, Facebook page, Financial Survival Network. Dr. George, thanks so much for coming on. It's always a help and a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks. I look forward to coming on again.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.